Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, Innkeeper, and this is your live call-in talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And we're back for another What Wednesday, and the Tweeter of Chaos has been causing chaos. So we have a couple of guests here. We're going to theorize, but before that, I just want to make sure everything looks okay. I have this new setup. You guys saw maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I think I'm not as low as I was last time around. But let me know if you don't hear things well, or if things, I don't know, don't look well or don't look right for some reason. But let me show you what we have coming up on the Dusty Wheel in the next couple of weeks, because next week is the book 9 with the Wheel Weaves podcast and Knife of Dreams. Exactly. No, not I don't know my books now. That's book 11. It's Danny and Brett back at the Dusty Wheel, and Matt's gonna have a chat with them and figure out, last book that RJ did. How did they like that, and what they thought about all that. But the week after that is, I think, what we're all waiting for, because it is this. Lanfear Guidon, a 12-hour deep dive on our favorite Forsaken here at the Dusty Wheel. And as you may have heard, Matt is taking a sabbatical of sorts and is going to sign off in style. He's going to spend 12 hours talking about the best part for him of the Wheel of Time, and that is Lanfear. So we have a lot of things planned for that 12 hours, so tune in for that. So I'm looking at some of these people are pointing out, yes, I did get a haircut. Yeah, that happened. But let me welcome our two wonderful guests who are going to theorize with me tonight. We're doing season 2 theories, and some of the stuff that we're going to get into is going to be season 3 stuff too. But let me introduce Mary Frenzy and Kevin Angus. Welcome back, both of you.
Hello, Innkeeper.
Hello.
Might I just say, I speak for everyone in chat when I say nice haircut.
Thank you. But Mary, you were here last week. It was a great time rating everything. We're not gonna do crazy 35 choice polls. We will bring that back. We don't have to do that today, I think. So a lot of today will be theorizing. Yeah, exactly. We'll see. I do like, this is the correct way to the correct thing, sabbatical, as in the the Forsaken have Matt, or the Dark One rather. But Kevin, before we go into our season 2 stuff, why don't you tell us? I had this poll up here. And I asked Mary before we started if she had any idea what these hexadecimal clues. So I asked, are the hexadecimal clues by the Tweeter of Chaos hinting at the season 3 release date? And about 55% of people who voted have said, what hexadecimal clues? But a good 23% do have this faith in Kevin that only Kevin knows. So I was like, hey, Kevin is here, we might as well talk about these clues. Before we do that, I'm not going full book spoilers. I'm gonna go, we're gonna have some spoilers here. If we do want to talk about full book, we'll hint at it and make sure people sign off before we do that. But
we'll be good.
We'll definitely be talking about the first 3 books and the 4th, because season 3 and our theorizing for some of these things we'll delve into that. But so Kevin, what's been happening? What has the Tweeter of Chaos been doing?
Well, if you're as unfamiliar with hexadecimal codes as I am, because I don't know anything about them, and that's not just me building an alibi. I have no idea what they are used for, and I've looked it up a few times and it just hasn't stuck yet. But At the very least, I do know so far is that it's a combination of a number between 0 and 9, and possibly a letter between A and F. So the first character is going to be a number. The second character might be a letter, might be a number.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they
Okay.
translate into like letters and bytes and binary. It's computer magic mumbo jumbo kind of stuff. That is like I'm very surface level. As often as I can get away with it, I'm gonna go surface level. And this is a case where I can go surface level. So
Okay.
I'm not a hex expert. I'm not a hexpert. Never claimed to be. This is my apology. Uh, but anyway,
But it's not going to stop us
so
from theorizing, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's not knowing Spanish doesn't prevent me from talking to people who speak Spanish. There's translators. We can translate things from hexadecimal code back into English. And that's what I've been doing with others on Twitter since, I think it was about when was that first post? Do you have
Oh,
the
yes. Let
Twitter
me
thread
throw
up?
this up so you can refresh your memory. So
Yeah, let me
this
walk you
is
guys through.
yeah. All right. Go ahead.
So if you want to scroll down just for a minute, I just want to see the date on the first post. So the first post was on November 3rd. And the best kind of clue is the kind of clue that tells you that it's a clue. They told us that it's in hexadecimal code. So we translated it, and the first one they gave us was 72, 75, 64, 65, which is the word rude, like the eponymous, that show a Full House or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how rude, that was a nice reference. So it's contentious whether this is the key just to start the clue chase, or if they should be included, because there have been two other sentences. So we have clue number 2, which is 73, 74, 69, 60, 6C, which is the word still, like a still for a picture, or you're standing still.
Or
And then the late
stilled.
Or
Yeah,
stilled.
you're stilled. Yeah, or still. That's another good context. And then there's another one where it's 706 179 696 E67, which is what did it say at the top? It's at the tippy top. What was that one? Oh yeah, that one's
Um,
paying.
Paying. Yep.
Yeah, so we have Rude still paying. So hopefully you are still paying attention, because that's what I think the next clue might be. It might be attention. But it was nice that I did. TOC dropped a little 324 when they November 1st. Maybe that was the first clue to say, "Hey guys, there's a puzzle coming."
Right.
So it's like the pre-clue.
The pre-clue
Um,
clue.
yeah. So then I kept digging around. I was looking for other numbers. Ones that might have gone back in time. Like this one has a 6 and a 1. 6 friends, 1 power. So it's the letter A. So maybe that's a rude dude, a rude still paying. So I don't know if TSC's shared anything kind of salacious lately. It's all been kind of pretty tame. Not as
Mm-hmm.
many Trollocs. There was that one Trolloc post, now that I mention it, but um, it wasn't that salacious. They were just kind of behind the scenes. And then I realized that hexadecimal has letters and numbers, and that I would have to reevaluate my evidence collection strategy, which I am still in the midst of doing, because then I actually had to start working for the day. Um, so I'll be looping back on that, but that's where I left it this morning. After I had my nice morning coffee, and you know instead of, some people do crosswords, I divine the TOC tea leaves. That's my morning crossword. So that's where we're at. You're all caught up. Now you don't have to feel left out.
I
You're
mean,
in.
the primer in hexadecimal coding by the what did you call them? The Hexer of Chaos.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
hexer. Yeah,
the
he's
hex.
the
Yeah,
chief hexer. Yeah, yeah.
Chief Hexer.
The hexpert. The hexpert. Yeah, that's what it was.
Frenzy. Do you think this is what the Tweeter of Chaos is leading us towards? There is a season 3 date or such like that hidden, or will be eventually shown to us.
I don't know if it's going to be the season 3, but it's obviously a puzzle to solve, which I am all the way down for. I never worked in hexadecimal. I never really did coding, but I know it's a base 16 system, so like binary is base 2. And it's most commonly used for Pantone colors. So So that's where you see it more often than not. Also, fun fact, Hexadecimal was my favorite character from the old cartoon reboot. uh old. She was quite the antagonist.
Okay.
Definitely Forsaken worthy. um Absolutely insane. She was a lot of fun, so there may be there. That may
Okay.
also point out that the Twitter chaos may be like me and is old, who knows. But is do I think it's gonna be the season 3 release date? I don't see anything that says that or another. I think this is, I'm hoping it's something that's maybe behind the scenes or clues about what to expect in season 3, as a way to keep us fans engaged
Mm-hmm.
and excited. It doesn't take much, but throw a game into it, and yeah, we're ready. We're ready to throw down.
Yeah, I mean, was it season 3 green lit or green light?
Yeah, so it
Is
was the green light for season 3. That was the first one I ever saw, and that was in August of last year, which I know it's a little contentious around here to say that, but August, yeah, it came up. It was from the quizzes, and that's why I was always paying so much close attention to those quizzes, is
mm-hmm.
because those clues for season 3 green light was 3 green light, and that was ahead of the announcement of the season 3 green light at San Diego Comic-Con. So it was technically leaked to us early. Um,
Yes.
so there's no reason not to look. I mean, that's the thing. I'm doing this mostly for fun, but there's always like a tiny little chance you find something, so you may as well. What are you
No,
losing?
I mean,
Time? Who cares?
I do think there is there's definitely thought put into it, or at least crumbs left for us. What the crumbs lead to might be not what we expect, but there's definitely something there. I like to think the pattern, the code behind the pattern is in hexadecimal. I don't know if that's advanced enough for the
Oh,
pattern, but that's the theory I'm going with. That this is we're coding the pattern somehow.
that makes sense. So, because like you were saying, Frenzy, about colors, and Tavir and Tavern actually DM'd me about this. That I didn't realize hexadecimal codes also corresponded to color palettes. So if they're numbers that correspond to words and letters and symbols and whatnot, but they also correspond to colors, which I mean that's pretty much everything, right? Words and colors, right?
Could point to
It's like,
something related to the Ajahs.
yeah. So maybe I gotta write that down. Hang
yeah.
on. Let me get my notepad. Hang on. Let me show you.
It's like bookmark that, and that's going into the the ledger of or the bookmarks you have for all the theorizing. Yeah, no, I think there's more to come, and there's more to come definitely. I don't know, for instance, you've seen all these season 2. People who've asked about questions to ask
Mm-hmm.
cast, so that's exciting. I think we should be hoping to see some questions answered. But before we have that, I thought I had some questions that I wanted to think of and answer. So I think we've definitely there's definitely questions to be answered. But for now, I think these are the questions that I came up with. So the first one that I'm trying to think who pointed this out, but I remember someone seeing this, and I'm so glad I have Kevin on because there's a certain signal being made here. So the first
Yeah.
theory here is Maxim a Darkfriend? So and that's the first one we're gonna start out with, and I think that's the one that I bring up Kevin because what was it, back in February or so we did a Black Ajah deep dive, and
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
we figured out that this particular signal that Maxim is making has some meaning. So what do you think? Is Maxim a dark friend?
I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Frenzy, because I've actually had a lot of time to think about it.
Okay.
I
Um,
think it's a very compelling theory, honestly.
the signal that he is giving with his hand there is a Black Ajah
Yes.
signal.
Yes.
Would a warder know that and be
Okay.
able to use that?
All right. Okay. Good. I'm glad you brought that up. Let me, uh, as Kevin was making this, Kevin, if you don't mind reading this excerpt from Lord of Chaos, chapter 30. Here you go. I don't know if you can
Delana
see.
opened her mouth to say that she had never heard of any Halima Saranov. A woman appeared in the doorway. Delana stared in spite of herself. The woman managed to be slender and lush at the same time, and wore a dark gray riding dress cut ridiculously low. Long, lustrous black hair framed a green-eyed face that probably made every man who glimpsed at it gape. That was not why Delana stared, of course. The woman held her hands at her sides, but with thumbs thrust hard between the first two fingers. Delana had never expected to see that from any woman who did not wear the shawl, and this Halima Saranov could not even channel. She was close enough to be sure of that.
All right.
And that's
So
Lord of Chaos, chapter 30 something.
yeah, to heal again, chapter 30. So to your point, Frenzy, which is a good one, that would a warder know, um, how to make that signal, or if that signal means anything. And again, I do have show contains spoilers, so that's a Lord of Chaos book 6 spoilers. If you we're gonna talk a little bit about Black Ajah, Darkfriend stuff, so if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll make sure not to go out of our way to spoil identities of different Darkfriends. But one of the characters that's mentioned there, there's something you find out about them actually in this chapter. So, Frenzy, with that in mind. Does that change how you think about, would a warder know how to make a Black Ajah signal?
It is really dependent on the Aes Sedai and what she shares with her warder. And there have been situations in the books where sisters who were Black Ajah had warders who were also dark friends, and there were I think there were at least one situation where a Black Ajah sister had a warder that was not a dark friend. So it's really dependent on that relationship, and probably also what they were ordered to do by their superiors. For the show, it's hard to say. It's an interesting theory. I love following it. I don't believe it, but I would not be surprised if I was wrong, because I'm good at that. But also, Maxim, he said in the show that he became a warder because he fell in love with a warder, and that warder fell in love with an Aes Sedai, and there was a bit of a tension in that scene, and also how Maxim has said he has been cut off, or the bond between him and Alana had been shielded, and for a very long time. He mentioned that to Lan, that that was kind of the norm for him. So I don't know what to take with all this information. I don't know how close Alana is with Maxim, with that in mind. Well, we know how close she is with Maxim and all of her warders, but on a conspiratory level. But it could also be that the warder is a dark friend and the Aes Sedai is not. That could happen.
Right. Okay. I have something to show you on that. And before, Kevin, I go to you. I see a few people. So Melissa KJ, and who would he be signaling? Okay. And I think I saw Andrew Lawson ask, who would Maxon be signaling?
There are two potential candidates.
Yeah, so Dana Lu said Halima made the sign with both hands, and Maxim is making it with one. Yes, that is definitely Norman Garden. I think this is a black herring. Yes, nice, good. And I thought I saw something else. Norman Garden was like, the thumb isn't actually through the fingers. So Kevin, with all of that. Let's hear your case.
Okay, so I agree that it could be setting up as something that we're intentionally they want us to kind of worry about him, because like you said, there's it could be that maybe when he has the bond, he's not as tempted to go back to that life, but maybe his life before being bonded was that of a dark friend, and that was his attempt. But by still kind of feeling like that third wheel, still kind of feeling that like something's missing, showing a lot of like motive and anguish that we've seen from kind of the Dark Friends we've seen, where we've seen they've had deeper motives and kind of like a reason behind their choice. It's not just I'm a villain. It's that they have a fatal flaw or something that they can't see beyond, or something along those lines that kind of feels like they're pushed towards it. So I think it's at least definitely plausible that we could see that new dynamic of a Darkfriend warder with a just a regular old Aes Sedai. I think that'd be an interesting dynamic to explore. Equally, we do see him exhibiting kind of like telltale kind of like, no, they're not villainous traits, but like, he's always looking at his reflection. He's kind of seen as relatively vain. Those are typically traits that you would try to assign to like an audience. So an audience would say, this person might not be, trustworthy, or they might have, they might be more involved in their own interests as opposed to the collective or the greater good or whatever. So at least you're supposed to pay attention to it, which is what we're doing. So I think that there are a couple potential Isaiah that he could have been signaling to. Well, I don't think we'll delve too much into the potential identities of some of them, but I think that there's definitely plausible. There's a plausible case to be made to at least a couple of them in that courtyard, and I think that I think the main point that kind of started selling me on it is just that we have spent that time with him in those small moments where we see kind of him expressing that he's not as confident. He opens up to Lan. He opens up seemingly to Nynaeve as well. Often, that they have a very nice dynamic, and I don't know. I think that I think that this is something that we'll be chatting more about. But as of the end of the season, he's also the only warder we've seen, with reasonable knowledge that he's okay. There's Ihvon's at large is, something that we're going to probably cover as well. But and he also was sent off the tail to Mus. There's
exactly
there's a lot of things at play. There's a lot of moving pieces for an episode called Days Damar. So I think that
yeah. All right. So you mentioned and someone can correct warders and Aes Sedai, if they were both Dark Friends, or if we know there were definitely, I think there are definitely Aes Sedai who were Black Ajah without their warders being Dark Friends. But
there's one in Liandrin's crew actually, and she always talks about how she has to mask her bond because he's found her a few times in inns.
Right.
I remember that as well, particularly.
Yeah. But the other way around, if there's a warder who is a Dark Friend without the Aes Sedai being Black Ajah. But this is from RJ, from a Path of Daggers signing report from November of '98. Joe Novak said, if an Aes Sedai, so this is RJ in response to a question, if an Aes Sedai becomes Black Ajah, the warder would know instantly that something was up, but wouldn't know exactly what. The Black Ajah has three choices then: hope the warder is a Dark Friend or amenable to being one, hide the affiliation, or arrange for an accident. Yes, this would be painful for the Aes Sedai, but it would become necessary. The process of becoming Black Ajah is evidently quite painful in its own right, and this probably involves more than just swearing new oaths on the rod. So, I think from kind of that perspective, if the warder knows something's up with the Aes Sedai, I would imagine it would be, not evident, but there would be some hints to Alana. But I think the fact that they've talked about masking the bond and such, I think there's enough, like you said, Kevin, there to definitely have a plausible, basis for it. So I'm going to end our first poll here. So a good quarter of people believe that only Kevin knows what hexadecimal clues the Reader of Chaos has hinting at. Is
no pressure, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm on the case.
All right. So let me ask, is Maxim a Dark Friend?
I really
before
like
you vote,
how...
chat.
Yeah.
Before you vote, chat, Maxim is an anagram of maskin. Because his bond's always masked.
All right.
I adore how the show is making the warders more than just accessories to their Aes Sedai.
Yeah, no, I mean, the warders are, m- in the first two seasons, much more
They're
represented.
they're,
They're like an
they're
act. Yeah,
characters. They're
yeah.
actual
They're not
characters.
just bodyguards, or soldiers, and
Tweeter
even
of
though
Chaos just showed up in chat.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
guys. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I can't be in both chats.
Yeah,
Or
of course.
can
No,
you?
yeah, that's never
That's
known to happen.
impossible.
That's impossible. That rules it out.
That can't happen.
That's good. That's good. But hey, if the Tweet of Chaos doesn't know what hexadecimal is, that's kind of what Kevin said at the start, that he doesn't really know. But that doesn't mean anything. That means that we can learn together and figure it out and get to the bottom of it, right? But
Yeah.
so I put in I put in the poll that, is Maxim or Darkfriend. I think there's enough there, from a character standpoint for it to be, from a story plot line kind of arc standpoint. Would it make sense? Is definitely possible. I I don't know, how they would, make that happen, and what purpose that would serve. But it'd be interesting to see that. But I think I do like. I mean, if that hand signal is not is acting and not like is happenstance, that would be odd. That would be extremely odd. Is what I
I
would
love
say.
that kind of coincidence. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. I'd love to eventually, once we know for sure one way or the other, and let's say it's no, he's not. You'd be like, how did that happen? Is that, a question Taylor Napier, I think, can answer,
Well,
someday.
Maxim is definitely pretty enough to be a dark friend.
And I've got
Well,
one more
all
point
right.
to tell you on, people. We
Okay.
went up, we said we're doing the Shadow Rising spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Alana loses a warder in the Shadow Rising.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all
On
I'm
that-
saying.
on that
and that
note-
warder is not named Ihvon. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna say, on that note, our second question of the night. The last time we see that second warder of Alana, Ihvon. So where is Ihvon? Right? He looks down. He's in that last still we saw of the three of them together, and he looks down this kind of archway. Goes down the archway. And that's the last we, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, that we see of him. So
No, I
He's
confirm,
following
yeah.
somebody, isn't he?
he
at
is.
this
He
point?
is. Tomas goes down. That way. There's exchange of looks, and then Ihvon goes down there. So that is the question: where is Ihvon? And that's the kind of ties into maybe the two warders, Alana. Is there dark friendery going on? What do you think, Kevin? Where do you think Ihvon is?
Well, it's worth noting that too, that like he was not present at that later courtyard scene when they're about to go to the Waygate. Like I looked for him. I went back, I searched, I wanted to make sure he wasn't hiding behind someone or in the background or something like that, or just approaching as they're leaving. He's not there. So he definitely does not show up before our perspective shifts and we leave that area. So it's hard to say because I don't think that Alana would have featured in episode 8 regardless. So it's hard to know because that is kind of like a real cliffhanger in that sense. It's compelling, especially with the hand signal and that being part of the same scene. The last scene we see him in is coincidentally the one where Taylor Napier is throwing gang signs in the courtyard of Kyrian. So I don't know. And one last thing to note too is that it seems like the actor who played Ihvon wasn't able to return for season 3 from Watt's series. So I believe he might be being recasted for season 3. So that's something to worth keeping an eye out for as well. Obviously, we will see some kind of resolution to where is he in the 3rd season, but what that might be, obviously, we don't know yet. But
yeah. So I think within all of that, I missed exactly where you think Ihvon is.
Oh, I actually don't know. I
Oh,
didn't say because yeah,
yeah.
that I didn't actually get there because I he could have gotten the mat treatment, where he just kind
Okay.
of got clunked in the back alley and then got put into a room to kind of be out of the way, so
Yeah.
he didn't interrupt Lanfear's plan. I think that that's definitely at least a strong possibility. Um, it's worth noting that Alana doesn't mention any kind of feelings of distress with him,
Right.
so that's kind of like the weirdest part of it is that there's down the line, three, 4 seasons from now, you can call it a plot hole if it is. But
Right.
until now, it's a thread to tug on. So I think that he could be just kind of in a back alley. He could just be still. Maybe Tomas is just still walking around. No, he was there. He
He
was
was
in there in
back.
the
He
courtyard
was
too.
back.
So he obviously lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one I haven't spent enough time thinking about, but it's very compelling because why wouldn't Alana say something? She doesn't mask his bond as much, or maybe
Exactly.
she does.
Right. That's the other thing. If it was Maxim, you'd be like, okay, maybe the bond is masked, and he could be, you know, kidnapped or whatever, and is indisposed or something. Frenzy, what do you think? Can is the warder missing, or is this just um, missing
I'm
from the set list that day and couldn't make it to that that's all it was.
Well, I missed that Emmanuel Amani hadn't is not continuing with the
I think
series, so
I think it's
or at least it's not confirmed.
yeah, it's not confirmed, but I think
Yeah.
it's what series has an article out that
Okay, yeah, I
speaks to
missed
it.
that.
So I would say there's something to it. Yeah.
I believe it was
Okay.
scheduling too. It wasn't any hard feelings. It was a schedule
Oh,
thing.
understand
Yeah.
completely. That's the business.
Yeah.
The and I'm trying to remember the setup of the scene, and if I remember right, Maxim offered to follow Thomas, and Alana said no and sent Ihvon. I say Ihvon. I'm sorry, Ihvon, and that was the last we see of him. And it was to follow after Thomas, and Thomas was sent by Varen to follow Leandrin.
Okay.
Am I
Or
remembering the
find
scene right?
Leandrin.
All right. Okay.
Or to
Find
find
Leandrin, yeah.
Leandrin.
Do
Yep.
you guys want to just watch? You want to
Oh,
watch
I
Yeah.
this
forgot
scene?
about that.
Let's just recap and actually I'm gonna find this Varen while you talk about this frenzy.
Yeah.
I'm going to find that specific part in episode 7. Yep.
Yep.
So it's-
Oh man, I didn't realize if I couldn't remember if she volunteered him or not. If she did, yeah,
Okay.
that's another
All
part.
right. I actually found it. All right. Let me put it up here and
Yeah, but
see.
you bringing up a good point, Kevin. The fact that Alana doesn't mention anything amiss
Mhm.
probably indicates he didn't get a Lanfair haircut.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at this.
Curse
and-
me today. You'll regret it.
Still we can't see it yet.
I'm going to right there.
Ah, Varen. Kyrian's Royal Library is just gorgeous. You can't imagine the array of books they have. Go on in. What's the big secret? Why do you need an Ogier map of the city?
I don't trust Varen Sadai.
Oh,
Even if Lan does.
Yeah.
I'll follow Thomas.
No, we have our task.
There's 3 of us.
I don't want us separated if there's a Forsaken in the city.
Two to one.
She didn't want it, but she did allow it.
so he volunteered himself, but she tried to stop him specifically
Yes.
from going. Okay.
So, maybe I'm just not. I didn't get that scene, but it almost seemed. Is it fair to assume that he volunteered and she's like, no, we should stick together, and then Maxim kind of says, we can figure this out because there's 3 of us, and
Yeah,
it's
they
like-
both voted against them. Yeah, against her rather. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
So I misremembered. I thought
Yeah.
Maxim had volunteered, but he'd
Yeah.
volunteered that information.
Yeah, and he had basically said, "Well, yes, Ihvon, you should go follow Tomas." It was interesting. Alana said, "We have our orders," and I wonder, like, what that was about. I think it's just generally, to help Moraine. I don't know if that clears things up any more than clearly where he went was to follow Tomas, right? And we see Tomas back later, but we don't see him. So that's it doesn't bode well for Ihvon, but we know, without, I would imagine, even if you're masked, if you die, that you're
I don't think he's
exactly. So I think so I don't think the Lanfear haircut is what happened. But do you think this is this?
I'm not inclined to think that Alana has the bond mask, especially if she says she doesn't want them separated if there's a Forsaken loose in the city. So she's trying to be prepared for that. So that leads me, if they're following the mechanisms of the book, that leads me to think that he's not been incapacitated. He's not emotionally agitated. He may just have been led on a wild goose chase.
Or compelled, actually. Compulsion wouldn't necessarily indicate anything was wrong unless he sent a sense of confusion right the moment before it happened, and then he's placid again, because she's just bam,
could be
obey my orders and go walk down that street for a mile or whatever. I don't know.
Right. That could be. So
all right, I'm going to end this last poll. So is Maxi by Darkfriend? About 61% people say no. So
you got some work to do.
Yeah, but that's more, that's closer than I thought. I did think it would be a no, but I thought it would be a more stronger no.
Me too.
So before we actually ask people, let's ask people, where is Ihvon? So one, I don't think we, I'm just going to put indisposed. So,
I think he's on a wild goose chase.
Okay. So, so basically Tomas let him down somewhere and got him trapped or so. And he'll be back, but he'll be, is this something that the writers and the show, do they have to explain where he went, where we lost him, or it doesn't really matter unless there is something to it? Like, how important is a plot hole like this? If it's
minor.
Yeah.
For me, it's minor. It's not a big deal for me personally, but
unless there's something to it where there was Black Ajah, Darkfriend plotting, and that's where he went, and that's what happened. I think you could chalk it up to. I like this by I think. I'm trying to see it here. Where did it go? Someone said he's still looking for Ihvon, he's not good at. Oh yeah, full monopoly. He's still looking for Tomas, word track forever. So that, is that kind of what you're saying? Wild goose chase, that he's still not able to get there. I'm gonna put indisposed, knocked out, concussion counter. He fell to the concussion. Concussed is what I'm going to say. What else?
So we're taking the Lanfear haircut off the list of options?
If you want, if there's any, I haven't seen anyone mention death or anything like that, so I doubt it.
Okay.
I could put it in there. Just.
Well, do you need a fourth?
Yeah. Well, I don't. I only have 2 right now, so
okay.
I'm gonna put that in there, but we need to come up with a third. Let's see if people. If there's anyone, a lot of people, taking a bath, sleeping at the pub. Let's see, he needed the loo. Again, black herring. Yeah, I don't see anything. Oh, okay. Off getting a snack. I think that's a good one. A snack. Well, because we don't really have any really good plausible ones. And
So Variah said maybe he ran into Min. She
Huh.
could still be in the city.
That's a good one. All right.
Men. Okay. I mean, I think the other thing is he's just fighting. He's just protecting protecting the Foregate. Like he's actually just doing like
Maybe he
Like
thinks he
putting out the
saw
fire.
one of the
Yeah.
Forsaken and he's
Yeah,
chasing,
maybe yeah,
tailing
yeah.
that person.
Yeah, I mean he's protecting the Foregate, doing the lights work is what he's doing. Okay, that's the last one. He's doing the lights work. I'm gonna put that in there.
He's saving little babies from burning barns while Lanfear is setting the
Right,
the
there
Foregates
you
on
go.
fire. Yeah,
That's what he's okay. All right, that's our four
like a
options.
real hero.
And let's see what people choose. Yes, Joe. That happened. It's yeah. We can theorize about that too if you want. At the end of the show. But I think if we take out the actual show mechanics, the actor left could not make the shoot. I mean, there is, because we know of him not being part of season 3, and maybe there is something that came up as far as as it does with a new show or something new that they were doing reshoots for this and just couldn't make it to that scene or something. Yeah. Oh, it's a dusty poll. I'm being told.
Wow.
As long as I
There's 2 typos. You're continuing the tradition.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wild
you're
good chase.
It's a wild good chase.
It's a really yeah. Yes, there. That's
Of
it.
getting a snack and wild good
Yes.
chase.
Good. Nice.
Oh, classic.
Perfect.
I didn't even notice.
It's spelled correctly in hexadecimal.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
there you go. I was like, yes. Is this the world of dreams? That's funny. Yes, this is a mirror world. But yeah, let's see what people say about that. Let's move on to our third theory of the night. And this, I think there's a lot. There was a lot of speculation during the season, and then when we finally came to the end, it was like, oh, maybe not. But what is Logain's future? This is the last scene we see of him and Lan, and then Lan was gonna set him free, but did not, and because he killed a Green Sister, and he was not gonna let Logain get off scot-free for that. So what is Logain's future? I mean, we know he's a big player in the books going forward. He's definitely been much bigger than I thought in season 2, but definitely a really great actor. Any scene he's in. What do you think, Frenzy? What is happening with Logain in season 3?
I am I've adored Alvaro Morte's Logain in both seasons so far. Definitely highlights. And I think this is one of the theories when we were talking about this. This is one of the ones that we threw in together. I'm trying to, and this is book spoilers, so I want to say book spoilers at least through Nice for Dreams, maybe.
Okay.
So pretty late into the series. So we know that in the books, Logain becomes a more central side character in his role with Nynaeve, with his role with the Black Tower, and then ultimately into the last battle. I was theorizing that perhaps Logain could fill the role in the show that Asmodean filled in the books. Since we're theorizing that we're not getting all 13 of the Forsaken. Okay. So if they had to make a cut, that is an obvious logical one. There's plenty of drama having Logain fill that role because of what he did to Karini and then what happened to Stepan after that. and his whole relationship with the Aes Sedai, and the fact that he was, he raised an army and everything associated with that. There'll still be the drama with him, and then as Mazrim Taim shows up later, um, I think it would make sense from a plot perspective if he filled that role. So that's kind of the direction I'm leaning. As far as we know, at the end of season 2, he's still in Cairhien. He's
Mhm.
still locked up. He's still at the asylum, for lack of a better term, of what that institution was. So he would need to get out. So there's some plot that could develop there. Min's still in the city, so that
Right.
could tie things closely to how they happened in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I think Mayhem said back to the tower to escape with Min and Liana. It's that's kind of what happens in the books, but
mhm.
Min is in Cairhien and Liana, although how that would
And
happen,
Swan.
and Swan, right? How that would happen, like it does in the books, is a little bit hard to get there. I do like. I don't know if someone put this in chat, but I've definitely heard people talk about, well, Lanfear did cause a lot of damage, even though it was in the Fort Gate. Could
Mhm.
there have been some that got to the asylum where the asylum is, even though that is within the city walls, and somehow Logain was set free, with all of what was happening in the city that night. Kevin, what do you think? The whole this whole thought of Rand needs a teacher, and the show, they made quite the push for, well, Logain's it. We need Logain to teach Rand. Is that what's going to happen season 3 and beyond?
I'm not really. That's not really one of those theories I've ever kind of really been able to convince myself of personally. Just a lot of it hinges on my like the wild goose chase that we've done with like the Forsaken Seals and the wooden statue with the guitar and
Mm-hmm.
and that stuff. So there are enough signs in there to signal that Asmodean could be one of the 8 that we see, to not convince me that Logain's role would shift enough of that way. I think that in a lot of ways, I think that it was good to have them establish a relationship between Rand and Logain at this point in the series, to let it kind of develop a bit more later. They have a bit of a rapport now, for when they later on meet up for other things. So I think that might just be that. Like, he might have already given everything to Rand that he might have been able to at this point. And there is this one moment right before Lan leaves where he does get close enough to him where he could have handed him a key. Like, I've tried to look at this, like I've tried to
Mm-hmm.
go through it frame by frame to see if there's anything, like if you can see if he's still palming the key, because he never puts it in his pocket. Like, he's holding it, and then he goes in, he reaches forward towards Logan, and then says, "I'm never letting you out," blah blah blah, or whatever he says in a whispery tone, and then he walks away. But there's enough of it's like a classic magician sleight of hand trick. Like, you have them looking at them talking while he slips the key
Right.
in his palmed hand. So there was enough there to make me think that maybe he will escape in the chaos, and then can happen along his other, maybe he runs into Min and they escape together, or she helps him, or she sees a vision about him that makes her convinced that she should do that, something along those lines. But I feel like Logain's plot is one that, even though he's kind of gotten a bigger one right now, I don't know if I've seen enough from his trajectory to change, outside of his talent being very useful, of being able to
Mm-hmm.
actually see men who can channel, without them channeling. So as far as future concerns, as far as that's related to the plot, I think that that's relevant. But as I think, I'm still kind of on the we are getting Asmodean team at the moment, and Logain's trajectory will kind of closely resemble what we might expect from his kind of books
Right.
stuff.
Right. Yeah. No.
Being
I
vague,
think.
being
Yeah.
vague.
Yeah. I think Asmodean as a character, as a Forsaken, not just. I mean, it's one of the ones personally I like, so I'd love to see that happen in
Of
the
course,
books,
yeah.
from that perspective. So let me see chat. Fardar's grandma says Rand will free Logain. Now Rand's in Falme, so it's like, well, do we get back to Carrion to just to get him out? JSC says he meets Nynaeve. I think that will happen. For sure.
She's also in Palm.
Yeah, but I think in terms of what they're hinting at, JSC, as far as what that meeting would mean for Logain, I definitely think that is in Logain's future. Stone's championship winner, Chiad, and I think bed and breakfast owner. They only serve cereal. Rajesh hasn't forgiven him for wasting that. The Gildanian red. Yeah. So Logain is taken back to the tower and has his tower split plot. I think that probably makes sense, because, well, everyone's in Carrion, so unless they have another Carrion plot that is kind of the tower split plot, or Swan's like, why is Logain here? Let me take him back. Now that she's all, she's kind of figured out all of Moraine's plotting, and is like, well, I need to fix this. And when she gets back is when the actual the tower split and all that thing happens. Let's see if there's anything else. He buys a vineyard in Geldon. That is the fairy tale ending we hope Logain gets. Let's see. Swan takes Logain back to Tarvalon. Yes, that. I think that's it. I don't know if you see any other. Call me a shaman. Logain and Errol buddy cop bottle episode.
I love that.
That is.
Give me that.
Please, yes. This is good. Let's see. People are talking about Mazrim Taim and that stuff. I like how not all who wander are lost. I agree with you. I think Randy's an Age of Legends teacher, not just some wilder. It's that I think that is something to say of that. Logain is fairly accomplished in the power, from what we can tell. He does get captured. We don't want that to happen to Rand. Spoilers.
Yeah, maybe not the best teacher if he got caught.
Right.
Well, Rand already has been caught. So.
Like a few times.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's just. You see, bad teacher.
Let's see. Yep, I see Kevin mentioning that the talent is a capital T. Yeah, okay. I think that's about it. So I think if we poll let me end this last poll. Let's see. Ooh, it's a I feel like both of these answers that are close are like the same thing, because that wild good chase is kind of doing the lights work, I think. But yeah, so Ihvon, he's just down some alleyway. He's lost because Tomas showed him, like, he's like, did the old I'm going that way, but is back in the courtyard. Not many people think he's indisposed or concussed or getting a snack. Yeah, I don't know if that'll actually be answered. My hunch is, if there actually is an actor change, it'll just get lost in how, in the same way that how Loyal got healed.
What?
Exactly. So that's the same way. We'll be like, where is Ihvon? He's back. He's right there. That's what's going to happen, I think. But Logain's future, I think, is one. What will be Logain's future in season 3? All right. So Asmodean what do you want to do? Asmodean poor man's Asmodean. Is that a fair way to?
That's fine.
Book plot in the tower. Is there any other kind of way you think Logain could,
Runs away and joins the traveling people.
all right. Runs away on his own, joins up later.
The Tinkers, yeah.
Yeah, joins up.
Joins later.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, like,
Luca.
yeah, exactly. Like when he's needed, we'll see him.
And they find him in Vel. Don't convince me of this. Oh, I kind of like that. Oh, let him join the menagerie and then. Oh.
I'm like, are we going too far into loony theories? No, that one's actually kind of plausible.
That's
so
kind
we're
of
good.
definitely plausible because Nynaeve ends up in that circus too. So, all right. I think unless there's anything else, let me see if I'm seeing anything else. I think those three might be it then. Becomes a recluse in the setting. Is that what Andrew is trying to say? Well, no. I think that those three are good enough. I think I'm gonna see what people think. Those are all the three you're getting. Let's see how many people don't want Asmodean in the show, because that is one of the options. I personally hope that Logain will somehow be part of. I mean, it's a huge change, right? If he actually becomes part of Rand's kind of entourage, like that doesn't actually happen in the show. I see someone asking if this is a live call and talk show. Yes, it is. Let me kind of move this around or actually make it smaller. So let's see. Yeah, there you go. So we're not covering Kevin, but that is the number on there. It is 313 TalkWad 313-825-5968, and the call lines are open. And give us a call. Tell us where you think Ihvon is, or where Logain will be in season 3. All right, let's jump.
What's our next one?
Yeah, I think this. I was surprised to see that we got this, but we got, is Egwene starting to dreamwalk? Is what we saw the hint that in season 3 we're going to see more dreamwalking, and we're going to see the Isle of Wise Ones, and this was our hint that yes, there's that Egwene is going to learn how to dreamwalk, and that's going to be important to her plot line. Kevin, they showed so much of tel'aran'rhiod, right? tel'aran'rhiod in season 2. I didn't expect that, and we got such good explanation of the metaphysics within the dream world and how it works. So clearly we need the good guys to be able to use to access it too. Rand, I don't know, Rand has been able to, but that's been more likely Lanfear pulling him in. But do you think we're going to start seeing Egwene dreamwalking and getting the whole Aiel Wise One plot line?
Yeah, I think we do, and I think that there's, weirdly enough, there's precedent of Lanfear kind of poking and prodding Egwene along a certain path. Like, she shows up, and I think is it the Dragon Reborn as Sylvie in the
Spoiler.
Stone of Tyr. She shows up as an old woman to Egwene to guide her to set the trap, of course. But I think that that leaves an opening for, will we see Lanfear meddling with Egwene next season? Maybe she's covertly, Lanfear is a great exposition tool for tel'aran'rhiod because she's already the expert. Obviously, we also have Moghedien too. So we've got 2 certified experts that will have plenty of screen time, I'm sure, for exposition and telling us how they work. And then we see Egwene going through the motions to learn that stuff. So I definitely think that there's an opportunity there for them to kind of use that as a kind of a callback or an homage to that type of situation where we do see her kind of like leading other people in the dream along a certain path. I think she even encounters Perrin in there at some point as well too. So early in the series, not later. But.
Yeah, I mean, we're at the point in the show that we're at the end of book 3, right? Even though we haven't had the sword that is not a sword, but we're at that point, and where we're going is the Shadow Rising, and by the end of book 3, we've had a lot of tel'aran'rhiod and a lot of Egwene and just a lot of dream walking and a lot of stuff happening in the dream world. Not just the Forsaken, which again, I'm glad we got all of that. But Frenzy, we're kind of behind on Egwene's kind of teaching / exposure to that world. Do you think it's about time that that them showing her like that was not a hint, but the fact that it's still hard to know how the metaphysics work, but that was her waking up in the dream world there.
Yeah, it's likely going to happen different than it did in the books, because in the Great Hunt, she was given the stone ring tel'aran'rhiod by Varen. Varen doesn't encounter her because at that time, everybody, Leandrin had already stolen them from the tower.
Right.
So there's no Varen-Egwene connection. So, but they made a point of mentioning the World of Dreams, and they started using it in season 2. If they're going to continue down that path and not discard it the way Kalimdor was discarded after the Dragon Reborn, then they need to start utilizing its functionality, and Egwene is the logical way to do so. It also helps bring in the Aiel, which we get the feeling that's coming too. So yeah, I definitely think we're going to start seeing it, and I don't know how they're going to introduce it. Is she going to think it's like a trauma response to what she's endured as a Damane? And she's not going to believe it? Is she going to be goaded by Lanfear? I mean, Lanfear's already started to be a little bit jealous about her because Rand was so caring and concerned about her, and we know Lanfear has a jealous streak about a continent wide. So we don't know what why would then Lanfear help her or guide her unless it's to set up a trap.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, there's Lanfear, but there's also Moghedien, right? Who's also a huge player in the dream world. And even though Moghedien and Egwene don't, I could be wrong here, they don't necessarily butt heads like Nynaeve does.
No, not at all. And definitely, book spoiler, definitely in a very different dynamic between Egwene and Moghedien than between Egwene and Nynaeve. So I don't, unless they go very far afield there, don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, I think we're going to see dream walking. Yeah,
right, exactly. We're going to see more dream walking, and even if we're going to have Moghedien plotting in the dream world, the fact that we haven't had the dream tel'aran'rhiod, how does Nynaeve and Elaine feature in that? So it's going to be a little bit different, but I definitely think
well, they do mention that High Lord Turak had brought all of his treasures with him, and so maybe they find it there in Falma.
I do love every time anything like this comes up, High Lord Turak's room of the Cabinet of Curiosities, the Room of Mysteries, comes up as this like trump card. But the stone, the Twisted Redstone's doorframe's there, the Dream tel'aran'rhiod's there, Kalimdor's probably there too.
It is a very convenient plot device. It's the magic cabinet.
All right. I mean, what else? What other things are you gonna find? I think that's a whole show of its own. What's in the Room of Curiosities that we conveniently didn't even see?
Golems in there for sure, in a stasis box.
Oh, whoa. Okay. That is good. A stasis box with golem. Wow. Yeah,
That's a hell of a pinata.
That's I love that. I absolutely love that. I did see this from Minchiad. We know there are wise ones in season 3. Rafe has said we're going to learn more about Aiel culture. So if Eggy goes to the waste and doesn't team walk, I will riot. And I
will
think that,
riot with you.
That's also fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it totally makes sense. I just it would have, I don't know, it would have been hard, but it would have been nice if we had the Dream Triangle introduced somehow in season 2. It would have just made that better. I like Andrew Lawson. The Chosen Call are there for sure, right? Like
the statues, not even the keys.
The little fat man is in there. Yeah, that sure. All the
Red Rods are Angreal.
Right? That one, of course. This is good. It's the whole room across. Yeah, full Mercedes, not just the ornament.
The whole Tenchico Museum is just his room now.
That's perfect. That is great. But yeah, no, I think Egwene, I mean, just getting more dreaming and that whole plot arc of Egwene learning another new skill and kind of leveling up even more to the point where she is now. And it would make sense because, does she really want to go back to the tower now, and how that transition happens to the Aiel Waste will be interesting to see. So yeah, let's pull that. I'm going to end this last poll. A lot of people, about 54% on Logain's future. Basically book plot in the tower, so it goes back to the tower with Swan, and that's what happens. A good 28% runs away on his own, joins up later, and then poor man's Asmodean is about 17%.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think if we're getting Asmodean, it's hard to find Logain's place as with Rand, but it'll definitely be interesting to see that. All right, so is Egwene going to become a Dreamwalker in S3? Yes or no? I'm going to keep it simple there, because I think I would be surprised if that does not.
Your options are yes and Bane and Chiad riot.
Too late. I put it in there, but yes, that is what it is. All right, so our 5th one of the night. This one, I think Frenzy, you brought up too.
This one's driving me nuts.
Are the Aiel going to the Two Rivers? But which Aiel? Are all the 3 Aiel you see in this frame going to the Two Rivers with Perrin? And the question is, we did not get Gaul, but what is going to happen with Avienda, basically? I think that's the big question. And what are your thoughts, Frenzy? Is Avienda just going to become our Gaul stand-in and just going to not have any other, arc other than... Yeah.
They seem to be queuing that up in the 2 episodes that we saw with Avienda and Perrin. And Bane and Chiad go to the Two Rivers with Gaul in the Shadow Rising. And they play, I think, a pretty pivotal role in that whole arc. And we know that we're getting parts of the Two Rivers story, the Shadow Rising story. But at least I'm assuming so, based on some casting announcements that have happened. I am looking forward to it with a normal amount of excitement, just because it's my favorite scene in the entire series. Oh my God. So yeah, there's that. But then again, Avienda's role in going to the waste is also so formative and critical to her story and her whole arc. It's really the pivot point from where she is now to where she goes and ends up in her journey. So do they split up? Do we actually get a Gaul? Do we get Gaul coming in? I don't know. I would not like to see them split up. I think, the three maidens together are just phenomenal. But from a plot standpoint, I think they kind of have to split up. And I don't know how I feel about that. So, I've been spinning around on this one in my mind for weeks now, trying to just, figure out which way it's going to go and what would that look like and what would that mean. And yeah, I haven't come up with anything that is like, oh yeah, that would make the most sense. So I'm curious to see what others think.
Yeah, I mean, Danilo is like Avi definitely goes with a Carcron to the waist. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think that the way I think of it is, the introduction of the Aiel Wise Ones dreaming and dreamwalking and talking to either Rand or I mean, we need some mechanism of getting from Falmouth to the Threefold Land, and how that actually ends up happening will be interesting. But there must be some, like, well, that's the next horizon. That's where you got to go to Rhuidean. I don't know if we'll get the go gambler go thing from the Elfin. Kevin, what do you think? Like, what's happening with Avienda? Is her plot completely going to be different?
I don't think it. There's just not enough of a plausible plot that I can tie up in my head that would make sense for her long term, as far as assuming they don't change everything about Avienda's story. I guess that's the way to put it, is that they'd have to change pretty much everything. And I know that she feels like the Gaul fill-in because she is, for all intents and purposes, for season 2, but I kind of think that it's also set up in a way to kind of be perfect in a way for, Avienda gets the call from the Wise Ones, and she knows she still has this toe to Perrin she hasn't maybe fulfilled, or maybe she fulfilled it in Falma. Maybe it'll be all good. But if she hasn't, she can be like, all right, well, Bane and Chiad, can you fulfill my obligation to Perrin, and I'll basically take a loan out on some G for them. She borrows some G from Bane and Chiad. They take on the toe for a little bit. Bane and Chiad, you can keep me honest if this is possible.
I was like, I'm like an extreme novice at this Aiel stuff, and even to me, that sounded like some loose kind of legality to that. But no, I understand what you're saying. I mean, we need
she has to go back,
right? She's like the best next Wise One candidate. Like, you can't just be like, why don't you? I mean, maybe Giotto is more important than anything, so maybe the Wise Ones are like, yes, complete your side quest. I mean, not side quest. I'm a self-proclaimed not the hugest fan of the Two Rivers plotline, so that's the only reason I say that. But the Aiel Waste is like so important, that like going to Rhuidean for multiple people, I think is important. I like this. G loans is borrowing G.
It's like when you carry our honor, Randall Thor. Like, honor is G. That's the same word. We carry your G. So maybe Bane and Chiad carry Avienda's G to the Two Rivers to help Perrin.
Yeah,
because
she keeps running
out something's going on.
Yeah, she keeps running from her. She wants to be a maiden, so that's why she goes, right?
Are you saying that she's calling a tow truck? Gotta throw in a Tam joke there.
Yeah, no.
Perrin, Bane, and Chiad can free Gaul on the road to the Two Rivers. Case in point, bingo, bango, bongo. Everybody's happy.
It's like, Gaul, you're it. You can have Perrin. I'm off. Like, I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, we need to feel. I just feel like we need, Ruark. We need Gaul. We need all these like new Aiel, characters. But I doubt we're going to see them outside of the Threefold Land at this point. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But if not, does Avienda makes her way back to? I think we need we have enough of a reason to have Avienda go to the Two Rivers. I mean, I think with the Perrin, even though they don't clearly say that, but he did save her life. Unless there's a time jump, which I think would be odd. But if it's a time jump and they're like, oh, it's a year and a day. Now you can, like, it's not, not a guy shine kind of thing. But, now I'm mixing up,
Yeah.
yeah, things there. But, but like, they could be like, okay, why don't, my time's up. I got you safely back to the Two Rivers. Now I'm going to continue my way back to.
How certain are we that they're going to the Threefold Land after Falna and just completely bypassing Tyr?
I'm personally pretty confident in it, but
yeah.
I've heard one theory that they're going to start in Camelin. I like that the idea that there is a small time jump where they take refuge in Camelin or something like that. But I personally don't think we'll see Tyr until after the Waste. Personally,
yeah. Okay. I like this Tamslov cast. It's like Gaul comes back directly to tel'aran'rhiod. The Wise Ones want her back, so that's like it. I mean, tag. And it's, it's like.
What if they make Gaul Avienda's first brother?
Yeah, and then he can carry her honor because they're already first siblings.
So it works.
That's it. That's it. That's the answer.
Yeah. So it works better because it's loaning between first brother, first siblings as possible. No, I like. So they've said. I don't know if they've said Camelin, but we have really good reports of Camelin being in this show. We know Tenchiko is in the show. We know Sea Folk. I don't know in what capacity, but maybe ships versus in Tenchiko. We know the Aiel Waste. We know the Tower is probably going to play a role. So I think having Tyr is just going to be. It's going to be hard to.
Oh, and the
to
Two
put that
Rivers,
in.
of course.
Yeah, the Two Rivers, right? So you have all these places.
Yeah.
I personally am of the mind that we can't have that many more people, more places for people to go to. So
okay, so with that in mind, I'm getting more and more enamored of Gaul being introduced, and that is where Avienda splits off. So that way, we still have Aiel going to the Two Rivers, we still have Avienda going to the Waste, and that becoming that plot. All right, so hey, I get everything I want that way. So, and it's so tidy too.
Yeah. So we get Gaul. Avienda gets to go back, and we have the whole. It's kind of we couldn't introduce too many characters, but now we'll introduce someone and set things right in the plot, and be like, okay, people can go where they need to. All right, let's see. Any other points? I'm not really seeing. People are having fun with me not knowing anything about Giotto or the Shadow Rising and the Two Rivers plotline. I like the one chapter. When I think it's Into the Doorway. I think that's what it's called. That's a good chapter.
Is that right before they go into the Waygate?
I think the Twisted Redstone Door.
Oh, the Redstone Doorways. Yeah.
I think that's the one. Is Egwene going to become a Dreamwalker? 95% of people say yes, and no, but it's only 4% who don't who want a riot. All right, that's all right. So I guess the question is really, will Avienda go? Where will Avienda go? I think that's the question.
Yeah, where will Avienda?
Where will Avi?
I feel like there was this one everybody knows Alana is the best leak. I mean, not Alana. Priyanka Bose is the best leaker that the Watch Show has on cast, and I feel like there was this picture she posted. I could be making it up in my brain, and it could just be like a fake memory, but I feel like she posted a picture of like her with the people you would assume are in the Two Rivers for season 3, and I feel like Raga Ragnar and Maya Simonsen were both in the photo, but Ayula wasn't.
But
I could be making it up. But I have this weird memory of it happening. So
yeah,
chat, get on that.
All right.
I'm not looking in Insta right now to see what I can find. Why do you ask?
All right. So Two Rivers, Aiel Waste.
Saw that.
Do we have any other? Do we want her to go anywhere else? No. Where will Avi go? Two Rivers, Aiel Waste. Let's ask.
Wherever Elaine goes.
Yeah. So Tenchiko. No. Let's.
Tenchiko. Yeah. Imagine
No.
Imagine Avienda and Tenchiko.
Oh wow. That would be That would be quite the
I
10
wouldn't like
she would
that.
get there. Yeah.
I
All
wouldn't
right.
like
So I put Two Rivers and Aya Waste, and let's see what people say. But I think there are ways to make that happen, and introducing Gaul and getting to the Two Rivers. I do think Bain and Shiat need to end up there. So it's like, how do they get there, but not Avi? There's some explaining to be done, but I think they can do that fairly well. All right. Okay. Let's see our next question here. And this is one we kind of talked a little bit about, but let's talk about Forsaken. Which Forsaken will we see? I absolutely love that I randomly picked a Stell where I'm like, oh, I want to show the seals and Lanfear and Moghedian. But do you see Lia Costa's smile in this that she's kind of looking at Lanfear,
Looking pretty creepy.
looking extremely creepy, and we see the broken seals in the background. Kevin, you've done a lot of looking at these seals and what they look
And now they're all
like.
broken.
They're all broken.
All this work.
But we briefly spoke about Asmodean, but which Forsaken do you think we'll see? We know Lanfear, we know Moghedian. Shamil is out of the picture. And just for a recap, who has been mentioned, right? Grendel,
Samael.
Samael. I think that's it.
That's it.
I think that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
that's it.
so that's
And the
if there's-
boys.
And the boys.
Yeah.
The boys, right. So we have Shamil, Lanfear, Moghedian, Grendel, Samael.
So there's 3 unaccounted for.
3 unaccounted for. Asmodean and 2 other. There's a few that can make it there. But how many more Forsaken do you want to see, Kevin, other than the ones we know about? So Lanfear and Moghedian we know about. How many more are there going to be?
I feel like the name drops are there. It's a clever way to be like, all right, here's the ones that you could be seeing next season. I think that's a great way of what they might have been doing is seeding the thought process there, and leaving the 3 open for maybe seeing how the 3rd season goes. And obviously, I know they write and they film a lot ahead of time, but they've obviously now tested out how the campiness of the 2 Forsaken in this season went, and maybe they'll want to bring in more on season 4, and they've left it open enough to where they can kind of have fun with whoever those last 2 are going to be, assuming Asmodean's in. So yeah, I think I've heard and kind of agree with Demandred and Semirog is the other 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think those are 2 great solid choices for the other 2 as far as plot importance and kind of the mythos of them. But I've also played with the idea that I'd love it if maybe they just said 8, but then if it turns out they have the budget for it, bam, all 13. What if that happens? That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's 1% chance. But
I think the way I've thought of it is well, they've never really committed to a number. So even if they pivot towards 13 versus 8, it's definitely possible. Yes, they've only shown us the seals, and the number might be 8 there, but maybe there are 2 people sharing a seal. Or
I was gonna say the same thing. There's
Yeah,
nothing that says one person has to obviously. Aginor and Baltham all shared the same level of their cell.
Yeah.
When they were first sealed. So,
I mean, and there's definitely I think I think Asmodean and Demandred mainly for a very loved fan theory to finally come true, maybe purposes, that those would be great to have. The last one, I think Samurai makes sense, but then you're like, well, we already had the Shanshan Forsaken in a way, right?
True.
With the Shamel.
True, actually,
So it'll be
yeah.
interesting. The last one is really up for grabs. I personally not a fan of Masana, but I just like the fact that we need a white tower Forsaken. And that's what her role was, and that so having her for that reason makes sense to me. But Frenzy Mary, what do you think? Asmodean, Demandred are those kind of like locked in? And again, who do you think we'll actually end up seeing based on the Shadow Rising and what happens?
Yeah. So you can combine, if you had to, you can combine Demandred and Samael and possibly Raven if necessary. Bilal is a throwaway character. And you could probably do the same with Agenor and Balthamo. If you had to. It makes things a little bit trickier down the road if you do, but it's definitely doable. I am compromised because Semirog is my favorite of the 13. She is just, pure evil, human evil as opposed to supernatural evil. She is, she's scary. I love her. Versus, but her role in the second wave of the Shanshan, and I guess that is a bit of a book spoiler, is her role there is less plot vital to Masana's role in the tower, but what she does with it is more important to the plot than what Masana does in the tower. So with that in mind, and the fact that I'm compromised and she's my favorite, I think we'll see Semirog. And I think they, I don't know if they're going to follow the same plot line for Lanfear and how she stays in the story. I would think that she will stick around because she has been a very effective character.
You mean no mask? Is that what you're going for? No mask?
Yeah, or she may subsume herself back into the population. She was Celine for a while, and now she's Lanfear. She has other masks that she wore in the books that she could then pick up in the series and have her show up that way. It could happen. But yeah, if we're sticking to the 8, I think it's going to be Demandred. I think it's going to be Semirog, and I'm fine with it being Asmodean. It looks like it's going that way. The others could be more easily subsumed if necessary. But I also like the idea of we'll start to see more. And I agree with you, Anas. I think they may not have everything nailed down because they're still writing the future seasons, and they are, they're going to see what works and what doesn't and go with that. So they may be giving themselves space to grow the plot.
Yeah,
the writers working on the series.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, I like this by Andrew. Mogu will take a lot of Masana's plots, I think, and I think that
definitely
that is she's easier to combine. No, I'm fairly convinced by what you've said, Frenzy, in terms of the choices they need to make. And it depends on how things happen in the next season, right? And what do people like? I mean, the fact that Lanfear has, I mean, I think Lanfear was always a strong, character to show, but the kind of reaction most fans have had, it's like, well, how do you use Natasha O'Keefe, right? Like, because there is very little Lanfear, like, and in actual, like, herself in the Shadow Rising. So it'll be interesting to kind of see that. I think it's just a little bit at the start and at the end, and most of it is not the actor, Natasha O'Keefe. So it'll be interesting how they make those choices, because that plays into it too. You want to show your best actors, and most people would be like, where is she? And they might not understand, well, there is masking and things like that. I'm trying to think how to do this poll, so I'm going to end this last. Oh wow, I wasn't looking at the numbers, but a good 93% of people want Vienda to end up in the Aiel West. So at least there seems to be some consensus as far as that, and how that happens we'll find out. But that's you want to follow the book arc of that character. All right. So if I ask which specifically season 3, I'm gonna try to make which new Forsaken will we see in S3? Okay.
I'm hoping it is Moghedian and Demandred.
Well, so we know Moghedian's there, right? So that so I think we should try to choose 4 choices, and people.
Yeah. It's Moghedian and somebody else, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We don't want to swarm everybody in, because then they're going to run out of them.
Yeah.
So they got to space it out.
So Moghedian is there. Who's that second? I guess Forsaken. Well, Lanfear's there. Moghedian's there. Who's that third Forsaken? I guess.
Are we going to get Demandred? Are we going to get Grandal? Are we going to get
Asmodean? Demandred.
They mentioned. She said Samael when Lanfear was saying who. So I guess
Samael, and then
or no, I think that was when
that was
Luz there was stealing
it was
Ishamael.
Luz.
Luz. It was Luz who said
yeah.
it. So Asmodean, Demandred, Samael, and who's our 4th choice here?
The other 2 were Lanfear and Ishmael.
Grendel?
So it's
Grendel. Okay,
Grendel. Yeah.
Are we gonna see Grendel?
Yeah, she was name dropped.
Yeah. So I think those 4 are, if you're asking, because I don't want to do a poll with multiple kind of
right.
This person and this person. This is just, who do you want to see? Which new Forsaken will we see in season 3? And those are our 4 choices. Out of those 4 that I put, Frenzy, which one who do you want to see in season 3?
I want to see them all. Come on.
No, but you could choose one. Only one.
If I had to choose one, I had said Demandred earlier, but where the season is in the arc of the stories, I think Asmodean makes the most sense.
Okay. I did put full book spoilers up there, so if you want, and I didn't put it in the poll, you can make it Taim shows up, and that is Demandred showing up. That is one way to think of it, right? Kevin, who would you choose in this poll, or who did you choose in this poll?
I agree. Also Asmodean, yeah.
I think I think it's the easiest choice in terms of Shadow Rising. Who plays a big role, Lanfear and Tam wants I want the whole who killed Asmodean cliffhanger. It's like a cliffhanger that lasted 7 books,
at least.
Yeah.
It's like a decade.
Book 13, right, is when we found out. Yeah, that's definitely a reason to have Asmodean is so we could care when he's killed off in the next season or so. Yeah, I forget who put it in there. I'll try to find it, but saving people like Grendel for future seasons, just because they offer a different type of protagonist. The same can be for maybe for Demandred, but if you're going with Taim Demandred, you can start showing Taim, and then eventually we'll find out it's Demandred. I mean, Samael, only because of Alien, he's been name dropped, so he exists. So there's a reason for him to show up.
He could be the Ravine as well, so he could end up.
He could just be. Oh yeah, he could just be. Yeah,
he could be named Samael, but have Ravine's plotline.
Right. I mean, with that in mind, we could, see Asmodean as the Bard, Samael as the Ravine in Camelin, Demandred as Taim, all in season 3. Like,
oh my gosh! And if we can see Moghedian too, I like this in her being in the White Tower a lot, because without giving the identity of who Masana is, the identity she takes is a brown recluse, which is a spider.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. There you go.
Mhm.
So I mean, Gideon, the only person
Nice.
I think you save for later is Grendel
Is
and Semirog.
Semirog.
Or those are the people. All right, let's see how people vote on this one. And the last one is kind of an easy, chill kind of theory, and this is for the hardcore fan freaks out there. Try to figure out this, right? Where is the horn? And is the horn even important anymore? Like, what happened? One of the heroes, Amarusu, held out her hand, and Matt's like, yeah, here you go. And she's like, oh, I'm taking that, and that's going into my pocket. And it's gone. Now, the horn was important in the books. I put full book spoilers up there. How are they going to use the horn going forward? Is it gone? Is it done for? And we'll see it at the end, like we do. And it's just going
Is
to
it like
randomly.
is it like the Dragon Balls? You have to go find it again after you use it.
It can go under any throne in the Westlands, so you just have to go looking.
Oh, the Lion Throne. Put
The
it
line,
there.
yeah, just right there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Kevin, what do you think? Is the horn? It was important. It was it was a big kind of like in the book. The Great Hunt was all about the horn, and thereafter the horn was mentioned, but not really that important. And where do you think it is right now?
I think there's three plausible possibilities. The first is, of course, Turok's Room of Curiosities. Of course.
That's
Right
so
back where
good.
it started. So that's the first place. The second place, Matt's got a little bit of an itch. He scratches his butt. He pulls the horn out. It was in there the whole time. And then the third one is that Matt meets up with Tom and Tom pulls it out from behind his ear or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea where the horn is.
Okay. I mean,
Somewhere silly.
It's. I mean, and if we get into actual like metaphysics, right? The heroes are in tel'aran'rhiod. That's where they came from. So that is a little tar pocket that she put it into, and it's like, okay, I'll go grab it later from there. And that's what Amarusa did with it. Safekeeping with the horns.
But where's
Frenzy.
another liminal space that it could go now that the heroes have gone? That is important to the plot. Rudian.
Oh, okay. So
It could have been, it was taken away from Matt by the heroes. The heroes left, and they just drop it in the next place it needs to be. Rudian.
Okay. So, but again, I think if they go to
That's his
Iridian,
quest marker is the horn.
Yeah.
He has to follow the horn.
It's like, oh, found it again. I'm doing the right thing. Oh no, they whisper, we dropped in Iridian. Go to Iridian, gambler. Like that's that's what happens. Yeah, it's not important for them, right? To have. They've
Well,
explained.
there's another logical place it could be.
Okay.
Behind Uno's eye patch.
That's perfect, and that's what he'll do. Well, no, you have to blow the horn for him to show up. I do have a really great place, that it could be, and this is something that was shared on Twitter. I feel like it was a while ago. Let me get the exact date on this, but I really liked this. Let's see if I can put it up here. Yeah. Lord Matt Collins is there. Take care to hide it where no one can find it, gambler. Matt, say no more. It's right, right in front of our eyes. We could never see it. But
Hidden
it's
in
right
plain
there.
sight.
It's hidden in plain sight. That's where it's going to be. So yeah, I think I don't think it matters because the horn doesn't matter in the books as much. So what actually happens? It goes to the White Tower, right? And it's kept for safekeeping. Varen takes it back, and then there is a.
Didn't Min take it back?
He was there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
They were all-
Min and
they're-
Bear.
they're
Yeah,
all
they all
together.
went together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it was there is an important kind of plot line with two other characters that we haven't seen, Fael and Ulver, that that is important for the Horn, at the end of the series, but that can still happen. Like the Horn can show up later and be important. I do like people are like, oh my God, please be canon, Alexander.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
Noman Gardens.
Yes, that is true. Noman Garden is more of a urinal than a vase. People have definitely. I do like how T-Rex stash has just become our go-to. Like, where could things
When in
be?
doubt, it's there.
It's there.
I love it.
I do hope now that they never show us the Room of Curiosities, but they name drop it all the time. Like Loyal pulls out something and it's like, "This was so great. I found it in Lord Turok's Room of Curiosities." And that's like it's like everyone is like leveled up and has new things, and it's like, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And it's from that place.
Yeah, he's using the dragon banner as a bookmark that he found in Lord Turok's Room of
Exactly.
Curiosities.
Yeah, and the Ashendari is a letter opener.
Right?
That's I actually want now that you said that, Amazon, the Ashen Daggerai, whatever we want to call it, can we get a letter opener version of it, please? And
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. It just reminds me of the Nightblood letter opener.
Or any merchandise would be great.
I want a nice die ring.
There's
Anything.
I want a marriage knife. I really need a marriage knife.
Wait,
For reasons.
I always, this is not Ibudar. This is Tanchiko, right? Right? No, it's Ibudar. I always forget the Ria.
Yeah, it's Ibudar, yeah.
Ibudar, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Those Shadow Rising, I've read it. I think I read it, but they go to a few different places on that southern coast, right? That's where the two cities are. But yeah, where's the Horn? We don't know. It's not important. It'll show up when we need it at the last battle. So yeah, I think that is the 7 theories I came up with. I actually didn't put up that 7th one
You didn't
there,
put
but
the
it,
there you
yeah, but there you go. Let me just poll people about the Horn. Let's
Where's the
see.
Horn?
Where's the Horn?
Oh, that'll be a great Watt idol. Where's the Horn?
Where are the girls? Where is the Horn?
69% of people Asmodean. That's
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
well, Grendel got a good 15% more than Samuel and Demandred. I mean, Grendel, best Forsaken, as most people like to think. Not here at the Dusty Wheel, though. Not here at this Dusty Wheel. All right, where is the Horn? All right, I'm gonna go with easy. Tar. It's in,
It's in tel'aran'rhiod.
it's in tel'aran'rhiod. Rhuidean.
Okay,
right?
I found this on the web for It's in Children. Check.
All right. Rhuidean. Under another throne. Camelin. Any other? We'll
What was that you
show-
said, Kevin? Behind Matt's ear?
Oh yeah, behind Matt's ear, yeah.
Well, no, behind Uno's eye patch.
Behind
Or
Uno's
the
eye
eye patch,
Yeah.
yeah. Or up his ass, yeah.
or up Matt's ass. Would explain a lot. Let Donald toot.
Well, we definitely saw that. All right, Radian under another throne. Okay, let's see what people say about that. Well, thank you, the two of you, for Did people just hear Siri? Yes, my Siri did get activated. It tends
it
to
was
do
very
that.
confusing.
Usually only I hear it though, so it's funny that everyone heard it.
I
need
thought
to
it was
fig-
like, did I press a button or something? What?
That's so good. That was that's
Siri has the horn.
Siri has the horn. That's what happened. We should ask Siri, hey, where's the horn? Siri will tell us.
Quick, mute yourself before she tells us.
Oh yeah.
Did you mean Tella?
Oh no! So that is so good. I need to turn off Siri, I guess, on my on my computer here. It's funny.
You keep saying her name.
It's never happened before, so it's funny that it's happened this time. All right, I'm gonna let's
Ask
see.
her about hexadecimal.
That's so good. All right, our giveaway should be started in chat. Yep. So put exclamation point raffle, and you'll be able to enter to win a mug that I will send to you in the near future. I think I am all caught up. So if you have not received your mug, please reach out to me and I will get it to you. Thank you, Frenzy, for showing that. Let me make sure I have giveaways. All right, good. Yep.
Thank you, Vanna. Vanna, Kevin.
All right. Yeah, people want Siri. I don't want to show. Okay, it didn't work. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I see the people are putting their raffle entries. Any other theories? Any other things that you want answered, Kevin? Things you're looking forward to?
Nope.
All right.
All the Trollocs in the Two Rivers will be just
I know
gold
that,
mine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's why they showed us that behind the scenes pictures to show us that, yes, don't worry. We only got them and we could only squeeze them into the cold open of the first episode of the season. Just weren't in the rest of the season. But
that's because it takes a long time for them to get to where they need to be.
I mean, it's
exactly.
like it's like
they gotta hoof it, literally.
Yeah, and you need you need to want them, right? Now you haven't seen them for a while, so now you're
that Trolloc thirst has been built up.
Yep, exactly. They definitely they keep us waiting, so that's definitely something to look forward to when we finally get our new Trolloc reveal. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Two Rivers. We know the Two
Looking
Rivers.
forward to Two Rivers. I'm looking forward to one of my favorite characters in the entire series showing up, Fael. It's gonna be great. I am really looking forward to, and I hope we see Hopper in the Dream World.
Yeah, we
really need to see that. I really, really need to see Hopper come back because, oh my God. Let's see, what else am I looking forward to? Oh yeah, more Aiel and Sea Folk. I love the Sea Folk. I'm one of those weird ones that likes the Sea Folk. So if we have to wait for season 4 for the Sea Folk, I totally get it because season 3 sounds so amazingly jam-packed.
Rafe has said Sea Folk.
Oh yeah, well they are in
for season
Tenchico,
3.
so
yeah, he has said Sea Folk. So I think we'll get some introduction to them.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely. I mean, Hopper. I'm glad you brought up Hopper because that's the other dream walking wolf brother training that we need to start seeing is Hopper and Perrin v Slayer, right? That's gonna be so cool. That's gonna be that'll be awesome.
What about that?
Huh? No,
I forgot all about that.
Oh, you forgot about that. Yeah,
just today everything we're talking about. I just forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, people are we had Sea Folk in season 1. That one, Karin. I don't remember. Remind us when we had Sea Folk in season 1. But yeah, I think we'll definitely going to get them. I see I'm gonna close entries in the next minute, and then pick a winner, and then
Exclamation
all-
point raffle, folks.
yeah, and then wish you all a good night.
Got to be in it to win it.
Yeah, exactly. Another minute here. Will we see Slayer in season 3? I mean, we must, right? I mean, there's a lot of protagonists in antagonists in the Two Rivers. He's so cool. I just feel like this is the one that I feel like they go the Logain kind of route, where like, you know, they show a lot more of Slayer or of his backstory and all of that, and you know, as build on that. It would be so cool. Like, I'd love to see the town and everything, you know.
And Perrin's collecting quite the menagerie of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between the White Cloaks and Slayer's going to show up. And...
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, season 3 is definitely going to be. You know, I love season 2, but I think season 3 has all the places, the settings to have battle. You know, new characters that are just going to be amazing, and we love the characters that we didn't think we were gonna love, right? So Dane Bornhold, right? Like, and we're gonna get more. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get more of them. I didn't even ask that. That was like one of the questions I wanted to, like, hey, what's happening with Leandrin next? So that
could be its own show.
Yeah, exactly. I that's what I ended up doing. I'm like, hey, I think Leandrin deserves. If there's, you know, like a semi-Guidon, like a Leandrin Guidon, like we can't do 12 hours maybe, but that is a definite kind of deep dive.
We got to do deep dive.
All right, okay, I'm gonna close entries
Sister
here.
Strongjaw.
Yes, and let's see who our winner is tonight.
Ooh,
Phoenix 013, congratulations. You have won a Dusty Wheel mug. Reach out to me on Twitter or on Discord. Send me a direct message, and I'll be in touch, and we'll get that mug to you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Wow.
All right, like I had shown earlier. Let me see if I can find that here. We are back next week and the week after. Innkeeper Hatch is you know, doing the series that he loves to do, so that's next week. Knife of Dreams, with you know, their review with Danny and Brett, and the week after that, on the 20th, it's Land for Your Guidon, a 12-hour deep dive. That's coming up in a couple weeks' time. But to everyone here, thanks for joining. We'll see you next week. There might be other shows in between. You know, Matt and I have been talking. You know, he's like, there might be more shows. But I don't know. We'll
he doesn't sabbatical very well.
Yeah. He's like, well, you know, I got to do all these things and all these people that he wants to talk to, and he's like, well, if something happens, he'll make it happen, you know.
That's how we know, you know. That's how we know he needs a break.
Right.
But that you know, I've known him for a very long time, guys. He'll be back.
Oh, I mean, he like he said, he wants to be at WatCon, and he wants to do Wat Idol, and so those are the two things to look forward to. I'll be continuing to be here, as will Brian the Gleeman at times, and we'll continue to dig deep into, you know, What Wednesday, season 2 stuff. We'll maybe take a foray back into the books. Maybe do. We both wanted to do a Warder show for a while, and there's a lot of Warder stuff. So the Warder Bond is one thing they want to look into. So a lot more to come up, but I think this is it for tonight. And as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and smash the black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel. Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you. You're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is one
really
of the
well.
biggest scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, and you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad.
not
I see Lukomi as something along the lines of a Shadar Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Herald, like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all
This
of
is
a
not
sudden,
just
it's like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
And
elements.
just a moment
for those that are
ago,
kind of interested.
Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and
probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,